Oh, yeah. Is it Saturday already? Have we gotten through yet another week of Star Wars news? Wow, do we have a lot to get to today as D23 has its updates or announcements, whatever you want to call them, coming this week. And this week is going to probably be the biggest week for Star Wars news of the entire year of 2024, as we could be getting a Andor Season 2 trailer, a Skeleton Crew trailer, an update for the Ahsoka Season 2, and the possible announcement for the Acolyte Season 2. We got a lot to get into. How's everybody doing on this fine Saturday afternoon? What's up, chat? How's everybody doing? Let's open up the chat so we can say hi to everybody first, but let's talk about the big news that's going around right now, and that is the Lando movie being canceled. This is, first of all, not true at all. There has been zero update from Lucasfilm themselves or Donald Glover himself and his brother, who are now writing the movie, about this movie being canceled or shelved or anything like that. This is not true. But we'll get to why people are going crazy about it right now. We'll get to it in a second, but let's say hi to everybody first. Brandon Baker, what is up? Chris, how we doing? Mando United, what is up? Trent in the house. Navarro, how we doing? Jack Robbins, what is up? J1DRZ, how we doing? Lobo, what is up? Fearless, how we doing? Mike in the house. Chris in the house. Matthew, what is up? Did I get everybody? Thomas, Nathan, how we doing? Joseph, Galaxy Love, what is up? UV Clips, how we doing? Cornerstone Worship Tutorials, what is up? Okay, if I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Explore the Force, what's up? John Frag, how we doing? Martin in the house. Lauren, what is up? Okay. How's everybody doing on this fine Saturday afternoon? Let's start with the Lando stuff, because it's not true, and I want to get to it because people are just going crazy about Lando being canceled. I've seen 1,000 different articles being made about how Lando's done, Lando's been shelved, Lando's been canceled, Lando's been this, that, the other thing. No. We, first of all, have no update from Lucasfilm themselves or either of the brothers who are working on the show or / movie. It's now a movie. But it is not canceled. This whole conversation around the Lando movie being canceled is only coming from the previous writer who got fired over almost a year ago now, and him talking about the current state of this Lando show. So let's talk about this. This article right here goes into it perfectly, so let's just read this right off the bat. Without further ado, let's dive into this immediately. Okay, let's do this. Boom, got it. So let's get through this Lando news first so we can get to the good stuff, okay? The really, really, really good stuff. Let me zoom in a little bit here. That's better. That is better, right? Yeah, better. Okay. No, Donald Glover's Lando Star Wars project was not canceled. Okay. Confusion has surfaced online surrounding Donald Glover's upcoming Lando movie, which was originally announced to be a Disney Plus series before being retooled into a film last year. So give me a one into the chat if you remember this. Last year, we talked about this, the Lando movie going from a show to a movie. And not only that, it went from a writer named Justin Simeon, or whatever, and it went to Donald Glover and his brother, who are now going to write it. Steven, I believe. Steven Glover, right? They're going to be the ones who write this now. So that happened over a year ago. And now, for some reason, he's stirring the pot. The confusion stems from some very poor, aggregating of a new interview with Justin Simeon, Justin Simeon, talking about the scrapped series. However, Simeon hasn't been involved in the upcoming Lando project for over a year at this point, and was simply talking about the iteration that was already known to not be moving forward. So he's talking about the show that he was working on and how that was canceled over a year ago. Not the Lando movie itself. The Lando movie is still intact as far as we know. Will we get an update next week at D23 about this movie? Maybe, but only time will tell. So this is what Justin had to say. It was pretty developed He's talking about the series now. He told Collider of this project. There was a Bible. Interesting word. There was a concept art and there was scripts, but it just wasn't meant to be. However, again, this isn't anything new. This was revealed in June of 2023, over a year ago, that Justin Simeon was off the Lando series, and Donald Glover and his brother Stephen Glover were taking over creative duties and writing the project. It was then announced in September of 2023 that it would be a movie rather than a series. So first, in June of 2023, Donald Glover and Stephen Glover took over as writers and directors and kicked Justin Simeon out the way. And then in September of 2023, it turned into a movie from a series. So it's a movie, and currently it's still in development. Now, the latest update we got was from Donald Glover himself, who gave an update on Lando earlier this year, saying that he was glad to be able to have full control over the project and that it allows for the vision to be very singular, with him and his brother being the ones creating it. As a result, Glover knows that Lando will be good, because he was a little bit concerned before that. The actor previously played Lando Calrissian in 2018's Solo: A Star Wars Story. So hopefully that clears all this up. Lando is not canceled as far as we know. Again, any day now they could come out and go, the Lando movie has been canceled. But right now, currently, August 3rd, 2024, the Lando movie is not canceled. This is just coming from an interview with Justin Simeon, who was the writer before the Glovers, who was fired over a year ago, talking about his version of the project, the series Lando, which has been transferred to Donald Glover and his brother Stephen Glover, and now turned into a movie. So no, the Lando movie is not canceled, as far as we're aware. Now, I want to get your guys' opinion on this, because the Lando show, or movie, I should say, whenever we talk about it, seems to not get a lot of hype. So on a scale of 1 to 10, in the chat, how excited are you for the Lando movie? This is a really interesting one, because we got some pretty big projects coming up. The Mando movie, Dawn of the Jedi, a Rey movie, even shows like Ahsoka Season 2, Andor Season 2, even Skeleton Crew. But the Lando movie, it's a very weird topic. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for the Lando movie? 2, 5, 8, 5, 5, 6, 5, 7, 5. A lot of fives. A lot of fives. Oh, a 9, 4, 2, 7, 7, 7-ish. Honestly, for me, a Lando movie could be really good. It could give us maybe some underworld of Star Wars. Maybe it's like an extension. Maybe it's Solo 2 for all intents and purposes. But for me, I'm probably around a 5 too, or maybe even lower, maybe even a 4. I'm just not there when it comes to this movie, or even if it gets reverted back into a show, which I think it should. I just not, like, the hype just really isn't there. It's been 6 years since the Solo movie was released, and people have kind of just forgot. Not forgot in like a bad way, but just don't really have a care in the world to see more story about Lando Calrissian in that time period. Maybe in a show form on Disney Plus, you'd have the ability to extend the story, maybe use more time in the underworld, maybe even bring in Alden back for some Solo and Chewbacca stuff. But right now, where we're currently at with this Lando movie, the hype's not there. So hopefully this week, when we get to D23 on Friday, we can maybe get an update about this movie. Maybe something that will excite the fandom when it comes to the Lando movie. But as of right now, it doesn't seem like people are that excited. And it makes sense, because there's not much to get excited about when it comes to a Lando movie. We know where Lando's story eventually goes. He becomes the leader of Cloud City, and then he joins the rebellion, and then, of course, he becomes a general for the rebellion and saves the whole galaxy on Andor. And then he eventually goes on to rejoin the fight in Rise of Skywalker. A more interesting story would actually be in between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy, if Donald Glover wanted to do that, but I doubt that's where they're going to go. Yeah. But it seems like, for the majority of you, you're not that excited for this Lando movie, and I'm right there with you. I really don't seem that excited for this Lando movie at all. But talking about announcements, talking about D23, let's talk about it as it's coming up on Friday of this week. I guess next week, technically. I mean, Saturday is the end of the week, so Sunday is the beginning of the week. So next Friday, Saturday, Sunday is D23, and this is probably the biggest weekend for Star Wars fans, as we will be getting so many announcements, so many updates, so many trailers, just insane amount of news for Star Wars fans next weekend. So Friday is the big day, but we're going to go over all of the events that are going on over the weekend and what we can expect to see or hear from this D23. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, shall we? Okay, let's first do this. I want to start up a new poll here. Because if you haven't smashed a freaking like on this stream yet, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. Smash a freaking like on this stream! Okay, and let's do this. Are you excited for Skeleton Crew? So Skeleton Crew, I think, is in a very similar place to Lando, where people don't really know much information about this show at all, and they aren't as excited for it. Now, we did just go over the news on Thursday's live stream about the Skeleton Crew show and how it's going to release now on December 3rd, and it's going to bring us into the new year, which is 2025. Oh my God, 2025, and it'll bring us into the new year through the holiday season with Skeleton Crew. We talked about our boy Neil, the big blue elephant, possibly related to Max Rebo and his great father Jeff and a mother, and his brother Azul. We talked about the Rebo family quite a bit. You guys remember that? So, yes, we got a lot of updates about Skeleton Crew this week, from a release date to characters' names to a little bit more about the possible plot going on, interviews with Jude Law, interviews with John Watts. But we still know very, 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 very little about this Skeleton Crew show. And that is what takes a lot of fans' excitement level way down. And actually, right off the bat, this poll is disproving my point, as almost 85% of you are excited for the Skeleton Crew show. We'll see how that changes. I'll leave that poll up there for a little bit. But let's talk about D23 and what we could be seeing next weekend, shall we? So this is coming from StarWars.com. Plan ahead for everything Star Wars at D23, the ultimate fan event, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so let's talk about this. There's a few things that I want to go over specifically here, and these are one of them. So Lucasfilm booth is just going over what, like, the ILM stagecraft stuff, the volume and stuff. But this Disney Plus Pavilion thing, stop by the Disney Plus Pavilion during D23 to catch celebrating blah, 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 blah. Plus, get a preview of upcoming attractions with the Star Wars Skeleton Crew photo opportunity, inspired by the thrilling new live-action series debuting on Disney Plus on December 3rd. In the spirit of the Amblin coming-of-age films from the 1980s, The Goonies, E.T., or Extraterrestrial, Skeleton Crew stars Jude Law and these other kids. In the series, creator and head writer John Watts and Christopher Ford also serve as executive producers alongside of Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, Kathleen Kennedy, and Colin Wilson. Okay, so this sort of booth, I guess, for lack of a better word, at D23 is going to be giving a preview of upcoming attractions from the show, but we're actually going to get announcements is on Friday night. So this is Friday, August 9th. This is coming up this Friday coming up. So there'll be stuff all day long, like ILM Stagecraft stuff at 10 a.m., Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy at 12 p.m. This actually might be pretty interesting, as this is going to come out, I believe, in September. Somebody in the chat help me out. When does Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy come out? And if you don't know what this is sort of the what if of the Star Wars universe. They're doing a what if series in Star Wars, but it's in Lego. You're going to see Darth Jar Jar Binks. You're going to see a all-black Millennium Falcon. You're going to see a Darth Vader in all white. There's going to be some pretty interesting things going on there, but it's going to be in Lego. And I believe it releases in September? Ryan Burke, what is up? Boba Fett, how we doing? Yeah. Yeah. September 8th? Okay. September 8th, I believe, as Austin Snow says. September 8th. But then, like, later on, you get Creatures and Droids at 2 p.m., Young Jedi Adventures at 4. But then this is the biggest thing. This is what we're looking for here. At 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Honda Center, we are getting Disney Entertainment Showcase. Note, events showing at the Honda Center are for D23 Ultimate Fan Pass tickets holders only. There are no reservations or standby queues available for the Honda Center. So this event, which is the main event on Friday night, is only for the Ultimate Fan Pass. If any of you are going to this, you have to have the Ultimate Fan Pass to get in. But this means that they're trying to keep the stuff that happens in the room, or at least some of the stuff that happens in the room, a secret, or at least special to certain fans that go. So enjoy the magic of Disney entertainment in the star-studded showcase featuring exclusive looks at the movies, series, and stage shows you love, and a glimpse into what you can look forward to. So this is sort of the key here. This Friday night is going to give us a exclusive look at movies, shows, and other things. Now, for Star Wars, it's going to be mostly shows, because Star Wars doesn't really exist on the movie screen as of right now. The next Star Wars movie is The Mandalorian and Grogu on May 22nd of 2026. But when it talks about movies, it's talking about Marvel movies, Pixar movies, the whole works. But for series, for upcoming Star Wars stuff, we got on December 3rd, like we just talked about, Skeleton Crew releases. Then the next show after Skeleton Crew doesn't have a specific release date, but it is the Andor series, and it will come out in the early parts of 2025, possibly even in February, which is only the second month of the year, in 2025. Now, there's no specific release date set yet, but that is fairly close. So we could be seeing a possible trailer for Andor Season 2 as well as a trailer from Skeleton Crew, but we'll get into that in a second. Join some of your favorite stars as they give you a peek behind the curtain of their upcoming projects, never before seen footage, surprising announcements, and special guests, musical performances, and exclusive new content coming to the big screen or small screen and stages worldwide. So this is pretty big. Surprise announcements. Now, we're assuming that we're not just going to be getting a trailer for Skeleton Crew, maybe a trailer for Andor Season 2, and that's it. We're going to be getting a lot of announcements when it comes to Star Wars at D23. This means updates for Ahsoka Season 2. This means new shows. And when I'm talking new shows, I mean a possible animated show that there's rumors that is going on behind the scenes that is in the works right now. A possible multiple season animated show, maybe even a Tales of the Jedi Season 2, or a Tales of the Sith, or a Tales of the Bounty Hunter, or a Tales of whatever you want. But there could be a new live action series that we don't even know about yet that could be getting an announcement. Think about it. Skeleton Crew? We know so little about Skeleton Crew, but it was officially announced for the first time at Star Wars Celebration last year. And when it was announced, we had no idea what it was. So this week at D23, there could be a very similar thing going on, where a new live action series could be announced that we have no idea about. Because after Skeleton Crew, after Skeleton Crew, after Andor Season 2, after Ahsoka Season 2, there is no more live action shows on the list. That's it. Nothing. So there has to be some sort of announcement this weekend, or next weekend, I should say, that will give us the next live action show from Star Wars. And what it could be, we have no idea. None at all. Nobody anticipated an Andor show. Nobody anticipated a Skeleton Crew show. Nobody was guessing that we were actually going to get a Kenobi show or an Ahsoka series or a Boba Fett series until it was announced. So this weekend could give us a ton of surprise announcements that nobody knows. Not even leakers, not even scoopers, not even us, the crazed fans that we are, that latch on to every little piece of news that we ever receive. we don't even know what's coming next weekend. Because if we know one thing, it's that Lucasfilm can keep a secret. Luke Skywalker showing up in the Mandalorian Season 2. Darth Plague is showing up in the Acolyte as of a recent example. Yoda showing up in the Acolyte as of a recent example. They can keep a secret, and they can keep a secret really well. Qui-Gon Jinn at the end of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. So a special announcement, a surprise announcement happening next weekend is very, and I mean very, highly likely. But let's keep reading. So surprise announcements, blah, 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 blah. So that is Friday night. I think this Friday night Disney Entertainment Showcase from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. at the Honda Center will be the don't miss thing for next weekend. Now, since this takes place in California, this takes place in Anaheim, California, this convention, this might actually be 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 10 p.m. to 12 p.m., I guess. Or 12, yeah. So 10 p.m. to midnight, I guess. That's what it would be for us. So I'm debating on whether or not we are going to go live during this. Maybe do a live stream during this announcement thing. Would you guys want to do that? Something like that? Just be live and react to the announcements as they come out. We might do something like that. As it gets closer and closer throughout the week, we'll make a plan. But this is most likely going to be the biggest don't miss thing from next weekend at D23. Friday night from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. We need to be ready, need to be on the lookout for all the great announcements that are coming. Then on Saturday, there is a lot of Star Wars stuff going on this weekend. But again, this is the biggest thing. Friday night, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Okay. Saturday, we got, again, an ILM stagecraft thing at 10. Doug Chang designing the stagecraft. Some more creatures and droid stuff. Now, this is where things get really interesting. Fans have been looking at this and pondering the question, what if? No, I'm kidding. A look back at the Star Wars The Acolyte with Manny Jacinto. So Manny Jacinto is the guy who plays Chimere. Fan favorite character, probably the coolest character of the entire series, by far my favorite character. But it's a look back at The Acolyte with Manny Jacinto at 4 p.m. on Saturday. Now, I actually think that this could be where they announce The Acolyte Season 2. As it says, join The Acolyte's Manny Jacinto as he reflects on the first season of the series and reveals new insights on the Stranger, which is Chimere's character's name. So I pulled this up here too. Star Wars themselves posted this on Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter. As it says, the dark side is coming to the Lucasfilm Pavilion at D23. Join The Acolyte's Manny Jacinto as he reflects on the first season of the series and reveals new insights on the Stranger. So many fans have been running wild with this as it posted, how long ago was it posted? Yesterday at 4 p.m. So almost 24 hours ago, people have been running wild as this says the first season. Do you think this is inferring that there will be more seasons? What do we think, chat? I'm actually going to put up a poll for this. You know what? I'm going to put up a poll. I'm going to put up a poll. And by the way, 77% of you, the math is not mathing, but 77% of you are excited for Skeleton Crew. 22% are not. We'll see how that number changes. Okay. Do you think The Acolyte will get a second season? Yes or no? You tell me, chat. Do you think The Acolyte is getting a second season? And do you think this is a direct reference to that? The fact that they're calling this the first season of the series. They didn't have to do that. They could have easily written this as join the Acolyte's Manny Jacinto as he reflects on the Acolyte. Or literally anything else. They could have phrased it in any other way than the first season of the series. What do we think, chat? What do we think? Will it be getting a second season? And will it be announced next weekend at D23? Let's just take a second and pause, okay? From what we just talked about, just for a second, pause. From what we just talked about, next weekend we could be getting a Skeleton Crew trailer, an Andor trailer, an announcement for possibly a new live-action show and animation show. And now you're telling me that we'll be getting an announcement for an Acolyte Season 2 as well? What? I'm telling you, next weekend might be the biggest weekend for Star Wars fans of the entire year. Yeah, no? Yeah, no? All right, let me read what you guys are saying in the chat. Let me see what you're saying in the chat. D23 takes place in California. Yes, it does. So it might be 3 hours later for me because I'm on the East Coast for all these times. They need to finish the story. Absolutely agree, Dan. Absolutely agree. The Multiverse is Broken says, I don't think Season 2 will be greenlit, unfortunately. The Nielsen viewership numbers have not been good. I understand what you're saying. The Nielsen numbers come in at second to last, only above Andor. But guess what we just talked about? You know what we just talked about 30 seconds ago? Getting an Andor Season 2 trailer. Because guess what? Andor Season 2 is already done filming. Andor Season 2 is in post-production. Andor Season 2 comes out next year. And Andor Season 2's Nielsen numbers are at the bottom of the list. And it's still got a Season 2. So just because the numbers are low, they're still not lower than Andor. And Andor's getting a second season. You don't think The Acolyte will get a second season? Yeah, no? Yeah, no? Matthew says, whereas the Star Wars in between Sith and The Force Awakens leads to pent-up demand. What? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? We need more Plagueis and Chimere, or I need more Plagueis and Chimere in my life. Me too. Here's the thing. If they're not going to greenlight a second season of The Acolyte, that means we won't be seeing the character of Plagueis again, or Chimere again. And Plagueis is cool. Don't get me wrong. He is really cool. I want to see him train Palpatine. I want to see Palpatine kill him. I want to see all of it. Give me more Plagueis. But Chimere. I need more Chimere as he's become one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars. Period. End of sentence. Top 20 easily. Top 15 maybe. Top 10 on a good day. And I need more. Oh shit, just go down to the bottom. Okay. Explore the Force says, Kathleen Kennedy is not going to let all the man babies push her off her agenda. Guys, it's too early in the stream to be losing it like this. We're in the first 29 minutes. Okay. I think the show will get renamed. I don't think so. Chimere is the canon version of Venomous. He could be. Yeah. We still don't know his name. That's the crazy part, is we're calling him Chimere, but that was just his alias. His real name in the show is The Stranger. We never get his Sith name, and we never get his real name either. So if you want to just give us a season 2 just to tell us his name, that'll be fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, no? Joseph says, Acolyte Season 2's not happening, but Chimere Season 1 makes sense. What the hell does that even mean? Acolyte Season 2 is not happening, but Chimera Season 1 makes sense. What? They already have costumes and sets, less overhead cost, and they need to pay Space Trinity. Oh, they don't need to pay Space Trinity anything. Master Andara. Yes. I mean, think about the first season of The Acolyte. They killed off Carrie-Anne Moss, who plays Master Andara. They killed off Li Zhang-Chia, who plays Master Soul. They killed off Torben, who's played by what the hell's his name? They killed off Yord. They killed off Jecki, who's played by Daphne Keane. They killed off all their big-time actors. We'll put it that way. So all the big money people, they don't have to pay anymore because they won't be in season 2. That's a good point. But yes, they do already have all the sets and the costumes, and it would actually be a money-saving thing to create a second season of Acolyte. And that's probably something similar that happened with Andor as well. They're like, we already have the story, we already have the sets, we already have the costumes, we already have everything. Let me just finish the story. Yeah. Chris Reed brings up a good point here. Kenobi Season 2. Now, there's a few shows that haven't received a second season. The Acolyte being one of them, but the other two are Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Book of Boba Fett. Now, as of right now, there is no word that either of those shows will be getting a second season announcement at D23 next weekend. However, we just talked about the possibility of there being surprise announcements. Do you guys think that one of these possible surprise announcements next weekend could be an Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 2 or even a Book of Boba Fett Season 2? What do we think? What do you think? Harrison says, could see the old idea of the Rogue Squadron movie be reworked into a Maverick-ish TV series instead. That's another good point. We could be getting a lot of updates on Star Wars movies next weekend, as there are so many of them that are in the works. We've talked about the big 3 or 4 for a long time now. The Mandalorian and Grogu movie, the Rey movie, and the Dawn of the Jedi movie. The 4 that I was thinking of was Dave Filoni's Mando movie. So you got the big 4 right there. 2 Mando movies. There's 2 fingers there, don't worry about it. Two Mando movies, a Rey movie, and a Dawn of the Jedi movie. So those are the 4 main movies that Lucasfilm has been talking about the most. But there are a lot more. Rogue Squadron, being created by Patty Jenkins, is technically still in the works. The Lando movie with Donald Glover and Stephen Glover, like we just talked about at the beginning of the stream, is still in the works. Sean Levy, who just did Deadpool and Wolverine, has a Star Wars movie still in the works. Taika Waititi still has a Star Wars movie in the works. There's a lot of Star Wars movies that are technically in the works still that haven't had updates for months, if not years. And maybe, just maybe, D23 next weekend could be the time where we get an update. We actually get to see what's going on with these movies, because there are so many that we haven't had a single bit of news about in years. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say years. I'm talking about actual years. Of course, the fabled Rian Johnson trilogy as well. Yeah, that too. That too. But there's a lot of movies that need updates, and they could all be coming, or maybe some of them will be coming next weekend at D23. What do we think about that? $180 million budget. I hope they get a second season, LOL. Well, I don't know how the budget has anything to do with it. Chris says, depends. We would never be able to understand them unless they have subtitles or they speak a language that actually... Wait, what are you talking about? I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Avalon says, my only hope, if there is a second season of The Acolyte, is that they get better writers. Well, I actually think... I thought the writing for season 1 was really good, but to your point about Leslie Headland being sort of a split in the fandom herself, they will have to shift gears a little bit to make it so that a second season of this Acolyte show doesn't get a shit on, for lack of a better word, doesn't get review bombed on Rotten Tomatoes for the audience score to be a 13 before the show even airs. Like, they need to fix what's going on behind the scenes, fix the narrative around the Acolyte show a little bit with some PR over at Lucasfilm before a second season comes out, so that the same thing that happened with season 1 doesn't happen with season 2. And a lot of people just crap on it week in and week out for not even watching the show or caring about what it's about. That definitely needs to be worked on if they are going to be doing a second season. Yeah. Matthew says, getting a second season and wanting a second season are separate polls. That is true. That is very, very true. And that's why the poll says, do you think the Acolyte will be getting a second season? It's not, do you want it to get a second season? It's, do you think it will be getting a second season? Yeah. Do we need Andor Season 2? Come on, he died. Let him go. Move on. Well, yes, we do need Andor Season 2 for many different reasons. First of all, to finish the story of Season 1, which ends with Cassian going off with Luthen, joining the rebellion. But also there's that weird time gap between those 5 years. Yes, we want to see Cassian, how he ends up the way that he is in Rogue One. He's a very jaded character by the time of Rogue One. He's murdering people in cold blood. He's doing all these bad things. And then by the end, he sacrifices himself to save the rebellion. But he's not like that in Andor Season 1. He's more of a lovable guy in Andor Season 1. He's slowly becoming that jaded rebellion character, or rebel character, but he's not that in Season 1. So we need a second season to finish that off. We also need a second season to give us more Saw Gerrera, give us more Krennic, give us more Luthen, give us more Mon Mothma, give us more of the rebellion. So yes, we do need an Andor Season 2 because I think it could be even better than Season 1. And Season 1, let's be real, was freaking good. Give me out of 10. Okay, let me see where the Andor hype is at in the chat. How excited are you for Andor Season 2? On a scale of 1 to 10. How excited are you for Andor Season 2? Where's the Andor love at in the chat? Exactly my point. Do we need an Andor Season 2? Look at these scores. 10, 10, 11, 9, 10, 10, 11, 11, 11, 11, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. Like, I've never seen such a united front when it comes to a show. You know? Oh, we got some lower scores. 6, 7, 0. Oh, my God. 1,138. Okay. 10, 10, 10, 8, 8, 8. See, Andor, because it has such a sort of, for lack of a better word, cult following, Season 2 is going to be beloved in the Star Wars fandom. Just because of the first season and how that went and how I think Season 2 is going to go with a possible appearance of Vader, seeing more characters like Krennic. We know for a fact Ben Mendelsohn is back as Krennic, which is fan-freaking-tastic. And I just think this second season will be even better than the first, and the first one was good. Maybe even great. So it seems like the hype level for Andor is very, very high. And that's why it should be getting a second season, and that's why it is getting a second season. And I think the possibility of seeing a trailer this week on Friday for Andor Season 2 is actually extremely high. For two reasons. One, there was a trailer that was released, like a teaser trailer, released last Star Wars Celebration, which was in April of 2023. So over a year and a half ago, they already got to see a teaser trailer at Star Wars Celebration in London in 2023. So that show should by now have a trailer ready to go. And if it's coming out early 2025, it should be getting a trailer. Last D23... Sorry, 2 D23s ago, I guess. It was when Andor was just about to begin, so we got an Andor trailer. It was when Mando Season 3 was in about 6 or 7 months, we got a Mando trailer. The Bad Batch Season 2, we got a Bad Batch trailer. That D23 is what I think this D23 is going to be like. We got probably 3 or 4 trailers, big announcements for Ahsoka and all that other stuff. Tales of the Jedi trailer. Like, that's what I think this D23 is going to be like. Getting an Andor trailer, Skeleton Crew trailer, announcements for new shows, announcements for sequels to shows like Acolyte Season 2, Ahsoka Season 2, all that stuff. Yeah, it's going to be a big one. It's going to be a big one, and I can't wait. Yeah. Crazed Dominican said, look up Boba Fett Season 2, though. LOL. What do you mean? Look it up. Boba Fett Season 2, I wouldn't mind it. It just needs to have a good enough story to tell a second season. You know? The first season was not really beloved by fans. Unlike Andor, that has that cult following, the Boba Fett show does not have that. Which is kind of weird, because when Boba Fett shows up in The Mandalorian Season 2, everybody loved it. It's kind of when he got his own show that people didn't like it. Disney did more layoffs. I doubt they want to do much more content. There was a lot of Disney layoffs over the last sort of year and a half. I'll give you that. But that doesn't really affect Lucasfilm in that big of a way. Lucasfilm is not slowing down because it's sort of just its own entity over there at Disney. Yes, it is probably affected by that, but not in the biggest way or in a bigger way as you might think. Yeah. Oh my God, it just scrolled down to the bottom. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Damien says, I'd kill for a Boba Fett Season 2. I don't think I'd kill anybody for any reason, but if the story's good enough and they have a plot that interests people, I'd be down for a Boba Fett Season 2. The Jedi Order says, Team Pacific Standard Time, boo Eastern Standard Time. Well, I don't make the rules here. I don't make the time rules here. You know? Yeah, I know. Matthew says, I was talking about the length between movies. They should stick to the 3-year thing again. Make episode 10, 11, and 12 despite the fan outrage. The problem with making episode 10, 11, and 12 of the Skywalker saga, so to speak, is that you marketed The Rise of Skywalker as the end of this saga. Now, yes, I do think that the Rey movie is going to be the beginning of a new trilogy. I don't think it'll be titled episode 10, 11, 12. Maybe it'll be titled episode 1, 2, and 3, but I think that's wrong too. I don't think we'll ever see episode 10, 11, 12 because the Skywalker saga is called the Skywalker saga because it is about the Skywalkers. Yes, the first 6 movies are about Anakin Skywalker's fall and return, as he is the return of the Jedi. And then the next 3 movies are technically about Luke and Leia and Han and their kid, Ben Solo. But a 10, 11, 12 with Rey's new Jedi Order would have 0 connection to the Skywalkers at all. So it wouldn't be a part of that saga. So I actually disagree. I don't think they should be making an episode 10, 11, 12. And 3 years apart is way too long. Times have changed, okay? Yes, maybe people would wait 3 years for a movie back in 1980, but people's attention spans now, especially, are so small, so ridiculously small. If you can't capture someone's attention like that, they're gone. Look at TikTok, look at Instagram Reels, look at YouTube Shorts. They're all just like boom, 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 boom. If you don't capture someone's attention in the first 2 seconds, it's over. So people forget really, really quickly what they liked and disliked. And it's a very, very quick switch of like that. Just so quickly. So having a 3-year wait for a movie, by the time that second one comes out, people are like, I already forget what happened in the first one. Do I even want to watch it? So they gotta sort of speed it up. It's like the MCU. Look at the MCU. The MCU does have trilogies of movies. Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3. Captain America 1, Winter Soldier, Civil War. Thor 1, 2, 3. But in between those movies, there are other movies to keep people entertained, to keep people's attention satisfied with when it comes to Marvel stuff. So Star Wars having 3 years in between movies is probably never going to be seen again because it's just too long, and people will lose interest almost immediately because they'll be like, I have to wait 3 more years to see the next one. Yeah. The Multiverse is Broken says, it's below Andor now. Also, Andor's viewerships steadily went up and had higher finale rates than Ahsoka, and also had a higher viewership after it came out. Also, Andor was hugely acclaimed. Andor's problem was not many people were watching it. Yes, the viewership did go up week to week, but even still, by the end of the finale, the viewerships were not even close, like not even in the realm of The Mandalorian. And yes, The Mandalorian's their highest viewed show, but it's like not even close. Like you're talking Mando's all the way up here, and Andor wasn't even on the graph. Like it was getting such low viewership numbers because it's a spin-off of a spin-off with a character like Cassian Andor that nobody really cares about. And I love the show. A lot of you guys love the show, but it doesn't change the fact that those viewership numbers were extremely, extremely low. Yeah. Indeed. Joseph says, redoing canon is not what any true Star Wars fan wants or needs. Making a good story with canon is what we need and want. Well, it's what you want, I guess. But yes, I absolutely agree. There should never be redoing anything. There was talks a few years ago about redoing the original trilogy. That could be the worst idea ever conceived, and whoever thought of that should have immediately been fired. If you redo the original trilogy with a new cast, new whatever, even if it's the exact same shot-for-shot remake, no, that's a idiotic idea. Yeah. So take that time to put on another project. It's talking about not doing Andor Season 2. Or let the story flow with another side character. I still haven't watched Andor Season 1. I'm not interested, honestly. I understand that there's a lot of people that aren't interested in the story of Cassian Andor and the rebellion at that time. But it's the same sort of conversation about Clone Wars or Rebels. Just because not everybody's watching it doesn't mean that the story there is really, really good. Yeah, no? UV Clip says, wait, was Chimere the name of that guy that he killed that was working at the shop when he took over and gave May the potion? No. I mean, I don't think so. It was just the name that he took as an alias. Just a name. I don't know where he got it from, but it's just a name. Yeah. Yeah. Boba Fett says, crazy that the first intro for the Sith wasn't a Sith? What? I don't know what you mean. The Universe is Broken says, just want to stress that I enjoyed the show overall. I just don't see a season 2 happening. That's very interesting. By the way, 74% of you guys right now think that there will be a second season of The Acolyte, and I could not agree with you more. I think Acolyte Season 2 will be announced next weekend, and I think there's really no stopping it. Because the first season of The Acolyte, first of all, was really good, and it set up a second season. And there was already plans for a second season as they set one up at the end of Season 1. And I don't think any sort of fan reaction is going to change that. Not to mention the fact, shortly after the show ended, hashtag renew the Acolyte was trending on Twitter with like tens of thousands of tweets about renewing the Acolyte. So the fandom is clearly there and wanting more of the story. So there's no doubt in my mind that that show will be getting a second season. Yeah, no. Armin says, please don't let them make a Kenobi Season 2. My thing with Kenobi Season 2 is there's not a story there. So I don't think they should be making a Kenobi Season 2 because there's just nothing there. Plain and simple. It was supposed to be a limited series. It served its purpose. And if you were to bring back a second season, what are you going to do? Have the rematch of the century again? Have Obi-Wan leave Tatooine again, which he's not supposed to do, to go fight Vader again? You can't do that. And then if you're not going to do that, what's season 2 just going to be about then? Him hanging around on Tatooine, watching over Luke, training with Qui-Gon? That's not nearly enough plot to draw in an audience to watch this show. So for Kenobi, I don't think there's a possibility for a second season. Unlike the Book of Boba Fett, where I don't know what plot you would have for a second season of the Book of Boba Fett, but there is room for it. I just don't think there's room for it when it comes to Kenobi. There's just no room for season 2. There really isn't. So Kenobi season 2 is probably a no-go when it comes to me, but maybe for the Book of Boba Fett. Harrison says, I got a feeling that the books coming out about the Acolyte characters in Dara, when she goes off about the Wayseekers joining some sort of witch cult like the one on Brendok, where she will get her face tattooed. Oh, you're talking about the dot on her face? I don't think so. I don't know where she got that from, but I don't think so. Yeah. Yeah. Book of Boba Fett was more like a Mando season 2.5. It was, to an extent, but that doesn't change the fact that those episodes were good. The 2 best episodes of the Book of Boba Fett are the 2 Mando episodes, and that doesn't really make it not good. They're still good. Jordan Summer says, I hope this dude gets a Disney gift bag, at least Star Wars Outlaws, for free. He's trying hard to make it sound good. He deserves Disney's annual passes, bare minimum. Hey, let's listen to Jordan Summer. If you want to give me a free copy of Star Wars Outlaws, Disney, I'm right there. I'm right there. I don't know what I'm trying to make sound good, because it all sounds good to me. I think Jordan Summers has lost his goddamn mind. That's what I think. Appreciate it, Jordan. How about a Book of Boba Fett where it's actually about him? I'd watch that. I'd watch that. Brandon says, Lando was canceled. Did I hear about that? Yeah, we kind of debunked that at the beginning of the stream. People are talking about it all over the place, Lando getting canceled. It's not. It's just Justin Simeon, who was the original writer for the Lando show, who got fired over a year ago, now talking about his time with the show and how it got canceled. And it has not been canceled, as far as we know, because there hasn't really been an update for this Lando movie in a year or less, a little less than a year. But we really need some updates. And hopefully that's what next weekend is about. Robert says, a new animated series will probably be a possibility for the surprise announcements at D23. Yeah, so let's switch gears from live action to animation for a second here. The Bad Batch is over. As sad as that may sound, because the Bad Batch was so freaking good, especially that 3rd season, it's over. And right now we're in a weird spot where there's no next animated show. For years, we had a show to look forward to for animated Star Wars. From 2013, is it 2013 or 14 when Rebels started? I think it was 14. So 2014, Rebels starts. Then you have Season 2 to look forward to, Season 3 to look forward to. Then you have the Clone Wars Season 7 to look forward to, along with Rebels Season 4. Then after that, you have the Bad Batch to look forward to, Bad Batch Season 2, Bad Batch Season 3. And now, for the first time in 10 years, we don't have an animated show to look forward to. And I think that's all going to change next weekend, as they will be announcing the next full-length, multiple-season animated show. Now, what that will be about, I don't know. And we can speculate. It could be an Asajj Ventress Hidden Path show. Could be a Clone Rebellion show with Captain Rex, maybe Commander Cody, Wolf, Gregor, Hauser, the survivors, pretty much, of the Bad Batch. Or it could take place in a completely different time period in the Mandoverse. And maybe it's a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show that follows the early days of Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple as he's training a young Ben Solo and all of his other younglings, and maybe it's even multiple seasons. Maybe it even goes all the way to the sequel trilogy, and just like the Clone Wars did with 7 seasons of the Clone Wars, it integrates directly into the sequel trilogy, just like Season 7 of the Clone Wars directly integrates into the events of Revenge of the Sith. That would be pretty damn cool, if I do say so myself. But with that being said, if there is going to be one singular animated show announced next weekend at D23, multiple season animated show, what would you want it to be? Would you want that Clone Rebellion show with Captain Rex and Cody? See how Cody's story ends. Would you want to see Asajj Ventress, Quinlan Vos saving Jedi who survived Order 66? Maybe see Grogu come through there. Maybe see Kelleran Beck come through there. Cal Kestis come through there. Baylan Skoll come through there. Maybe even Jude Law's character, if he's revealed to be an actual Jedi, come through there. Would you want to see that? Or would you want to see a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show? Or maybe you're thinking of something completely different that I haven't even thought of yet. Maybe a High Republic animated show about those characters. What do we think? What would you want? What do you want? What do you want? Okay, don't go away, but I'm going to scroll down. Okay. A Hutt cartel show? I would be down for an Underworld show with the Hutts and the Pikes and the Crimson Dawn. That'd be kind of cool. Darth Maul, Sons of Dathomir. That would be pretty cool. Son of Dathomir. That would be pretty damn cool. Maybe get to see a lot of... See, if you put Darth Maul in anything, I'm going to be all for it. He is my 3rd favorite Star Wars character of all time, probably behind Anakin and Ahsoka. So, Maul, you got my interest peaked. Vision Season 3, no. Maybe there is a Vision Season 3, but I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Visions. I'm going to say it. I'm not a fan of Visions. Okay? Yes, the best episode's the very first episode of Season 1, and that's the Ronin episode. There are some good episodes here and there, like the Ninth Jedi, the Twins, the one with the old dude. But I'm not that big of a fan. I'd rather a good canon story be told in animation than more of that legend stuff. You know? Yeah, I know? Or actually a Sith show focusing on the Sith, but when would that take place? You know? Post-original trilogy animated show? Like directly after the original trilogy? They're kind of covering that in comics right now, though. They're moving to the Battle of Jakku. Matt says, I prefer another Clone Wars show, clone show, but I would also like a Ventress show. Here's my problem with the Clone Rebellion show or another clone show that would be a spinoff of the Bad Batch. Now you're having a spinoff of a spinoff of a spinoff, right? So the Clone Wars is a spinoff of the prequel trilogy. The Bad Batch is a spinoff of that. And then this Clone Rebellion show would be a spinoff of that. So a spinoff of a spinoff of a spinoff. And now you have a really niche group of fans that are watching that show. So talk about trying to get the most bang for your buck, the most views as a company that's trying to get views. A Clone Rebellion show might not be your best bet because a lot of fans might not watch it. Not a lot of normie fans, so to speak. We'd probably all be watching it. But for the normie fan, they'd be like, the what? The who? Why would I watch this? And honestly, I thought the same conversation would be had when it came to the Bad Batch. I was a little bit wrong about that one. And maybe I'm wrong about this too. But when the Bad Batch was first announced, I was like, who's going to watch this? Obviously, I'm going to watch this. But who of the normie fans are going to go, what is the Bad Batch? And then sit down and watch it. I thought it was too much of a spinoff of a spinoff, which it was. And now you're talking about a spinoff of a spinoff of a spinoff. Who's going to watch that? You know? Yeah, I know. How about a Delta Squad show? I would see that more as like a mini series, like a Tales of the Jedi type deal. Yeah. Ah, foot cramp. No! Ah!
I got a bad feeling about this.
Foot cramps are the worst. So I think that means I need more water, and this is clearly empty. So can I get some good cups full of orders in the chat, please? Bum, bum. The cure for a good foot cramp is a good cup that follows orders. A KOTOR animated show. Okay. Let's talk about the Knights of the Old Republic for a quick second, shall we? The Old Republic is a gold mine. Lucasfilm is literally sitting right on top of a gold mine of millions, if not billions, of dollars from Star Wars fans. And that is the Old Republic. They can go there, do sagas on sagas on sagas of storytelling, great storytelling, with characters that already exist. It would be so easy. But here's why I think they won't be doing that, at least not yet. They're focusing on a million different things at once right now. The current slate has stuff in the Mandoverse, from Skeleton Crew to Ahsoka Season 2, stuff in between the prequels and the originals, which is Andor Season 2. I guess that's it, actually. Stuff before the prequels, which is the Acolyte. Stuff after the sequels, which is the Rey movie. The Dawn of the Jedi movie, which is 25,000 years before anything. So they got a lot on their slate that is all across the board. Over 25,000 years. If they're going to focus on the Old Republic, they have to focus specifically on the Old Republic. Every movie, every show, every animated project has to be revolved around the Old Republic. It will allow fans to not only just deep dive into the Old Republic stories, but it will allow fans to not be confused. As it's very easy to be confused in the Star Wars timeline, it will allow the normie fans to not be confused. And it will allow them to create a well-told story in the Old Republic that is, from start to finish, done correctly. So do I think they'll be announcing anything Old Republic next weekend? Absolutely not. But within the next couple of years? Maybe. As the Dawn of the Jedi movie that currently James Mangold is working on, if that movie goes off well, if that movie's a massive hit and makes $1 billion, $2 billion, then they'll really think about switching their gears to that earlier time period with the Dawn of the Jedi and maybe even into the Old Republic. But as of right now, as of next weekend, as of the news coming next weekend, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. Yeah. Jordan says, what about the rumored what if Star Wars that they're talking about? Well, fans have been wanting a what if Star Wars for a long time. Again, I'm not a big fan, because that's more of just legend stuff when you can be telling so many great canon stories anywhere in the timeline. I get it. What ifs are cool. I like to make what ifs. I know a lot of Star Wars YouTubers love to make what if scenarios. And it's cool. Like, what if Anakin didn't turn to the dark side? What if Luke never left Tatooine? What if this? What if that? Blah, blah, blah. What if Qui-Gon never died? They're great. It's cool to speculate about it as the fans, but for Lucasfilm themselves, they should be focusing on canon stories, not what if stories. So yes, this Lego Rebuild the Galaxy thing is cool, and I'm going to watch it with Darth Jar Jar, of course, but I think it's kind of like a waste of time for them when they could be focusing on more important things. Yeah. The Ronin episode was really the best? Yeah, it was. A Rose Tico show? Okay. Down for it. No. Rose Tico kind of got the Jar Jar treatment. Jar Jar Binks was absolutely hated in The Phantom Menace, and quickly George Lucas shifted the character arc to make him almost non-existent in Attack of the Clones and in Revenge of the Sith. The same happened with Rose Tico. She wasn't received well from fans. She got a lot of crap from fans. And then in Rise of Skywalker, her character arc is very, very little. Yeah. Can we get Kira's story with Maul, perhaps? And maybe it's just called the Lando movie? I would love that. I definitely want to see the Crimson Dawn and Maul train with Kiara or Kira, but it wouldn't be in the Lando movie. Yeah. You know what's coming? Thrawn. Well, yeah, Thrawn's coming in the Mandoverse, but that's a whole nother thing. You know? Yeah, I know. I'm scrolling back up here because it scrolled down to the bottom for some reason. Chris says, out of the Star Wars movies, my favorite is the one that started it all, Star Wars, later known as Episode 4, A New Hope. Nice. John Frag says, have you read Mace Windu, Jedi of the Republic, Darth Vader comic? Darth Maul's son of Dathomir in the book Dark Disciple. I've read Dark Disciple. I've read the son of Dathomir. Vader comics, I've read some of them. Not all of them, I don't think. In the Mace Windu, Jedi of the Republic, I don't believe I've read that. But, yeah. Yeah. Do what must be done, Lord Vader. Okay, sure. Revenge of the Sith is your favorite Star Wars movie? Nice. The dark side and Sith don't work. It's just doom and gloom. You mean having a Sith-focused show? It would be very difficult to do, especially in a time period where there's very little Sith involved. But you could do it. I would say wait until the Old Republic when you have a lot of different Sith to work with. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Jordan says The Force Awakens would have been better if Kylo. Oh, Jesus Christ. Never mind. Okay. Matthew says Episode 1 is the only prequel that I liked unapologetically. I had to look for good parts in Episode 2 and Episode 3. It's really hard to watch. My least favorite Star Wars. Wow. That's crazy. For me, Episode 3 specifically is my favorite Star Wars movie. Hands down, Revenge of the Sith. And I actually think Episode 2 is underrated. Very, actually. Yeah. But I have heard that opinion a lot, actually. People not liking the prequels at all. Thinking Revenge of the Sith is just too weird. Yeah. Harrison says Rogue One and Andor are kind of doing what the Clone Wars did for Attack of the Clones, except for A New Hope. Not that A New Hope really needed extra, but it does help expand the rebellion. Yes, that's very true. I think Rogue One as a movie, and the Andor show, I guess, yeah, you're right, are expanding A New Hope. Not that it needed it, but it did nonetheless. A New Hope does have some plot holes. And those holes have since been filled, some more than others. But one of the big ones that the Kenobi show was trying to fill was when Vader says to Obi-Wan, or no, he says, last time I sensed that was, and then he walks away. And he's talking about the last time he fought Obi-Wan, and that, of course, was in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Last time I fought you, I was but the learner, and now I am the master. And then another big one is how did the rebellion get the plans for the Death Star? It's in the opening crawl of the movie, and it's the whole plot of the first movie. R2-D2, help me Obi-Wan, you're my only hope. The plans for the Death Star. Somehow the Death Star can be taken out by one singular X-Wing. Like, how is that possible? It's the craziest, biggest construction that the Empire has, a planet-killing weapon. How can it be destroyed by one fighter? And that's what Rogue One does. Rogue One explains that perfectly. That Jyn Erso's father, Galen Erso, was sort of anti-Empire, and he put in a flaw in the plans so that the rebellion could destroy the big base that he was forced to create. Makes perfect sense. And it's actually done extremely well because Rogue One is one of the greatest Star Wars movies ever. Probably my third favorite one of all time. So it fills in the holes that A New Hope had, even though it doesn't really have that many holes, you know. We need more dark side material. That's kind of what the Acolyte tried to do for us, and it didn't go over well. Yana? Aggressively relaxing, love the name, says, in a world where Boba Fett climbs out of the Sarlacc pit 30 years later, I'll wait to see what happens. That is true. You might have to wait 30 years for whatever story you want to see happen next. What about a Shinobi season 2? I don't know what that means. Shinobi? Like Shin Hati and Kenobi? I don't know what that means. Yeah. Joseph says, Renew the Acolyte was a marketing campaign by Disney, not generated by fans. Stop lying. That's just crazy. No, that's just absolutely crazy. I was going to say maybe Lucasfilm started it, but they didn't. The Star Wars fans are the ones that wanted more Acolyte, and I'm one of them. And the fans are the ones that started this whole thing. I'm not going to say I started it because I didn't, but I hopped on the bandwagon. I was definitely tweeting stuff out that said hashtag renew the Acolyte because I want it to be renewed for a second season. That's crazy. Solo ended with Maul, so maybe we can link up with that in a Lando movie. I mean, maybe, but it's going to be a Lando movie, not a Maul movie. I would rather a Maul movie, honestly. If it was just Maul training Kiara and running the Crimson Dawn in the underworld of Star Wars, I'd be way more excited for that than I would be the Lando movie, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah. Mr. Beckham says, I'd love an underground show or maybe a part 2 of the Book of Boba Fett, but maybe with bounty hunters versus the Hutt cartel. Again, I would be totally down for that. The Book of Boba Fett season 1 or season 2 doesn't have to depend on the success of season 1 because there's a lot of stories you can go tell with Boba Fett and his connection to obviously all the bounty hunters in the galaxy. Lauren says the evil elements of the Star Wars fandom bullied George Lucas out of making more films. I don't want Disney to cater to their wishes. Oh, absolutely not. Just because some Star Wars fans are screaming louder than others doesn't mean you should listen to them. Sometimes you should when they're saying the right things, but usually there's a portion of the Star Wars fandom that's just screaming and yelling about nonsensical things that don't even make sense half the time. And those are not the people that they should be listening to. I completely agree. Yeah. Matthew says, they messed up by not focusing more on Obi-Wan and Luke. You can't redo the show. But you can't redo the show. I would have followed George's outline that he had for the prequels on Kenobi, watching over a young Luke, but that's not really a show. There's no conflict there. Just Obi-Wan checking up on Luke every day going, oh, hey, another day, another watching over Luke Skywalker. Like, that's not a show. There's no conflict there. Yeah, no? I want to see Maul's how Maul lost his criminal empire, and Vader being the one who did it. To explain why he was reluctant to confront Vader alone in Rebels, there is a story there. There is 100% a story there. From where we see Maul about to train Kira in the Solo movie, to where we see him on Malachor 5 as the Shadow, as the Inquisitors call him, in Star Wars Rebels, there's a story there. He's the ruler of the Crimson Dawn, and then he becomes an old hermit at a Sith temple on Malachor 5. There's a big story in between there, and how he falls and how he gets to Malachor 5. That I want to see. No, that I need to see. Yeah. Yeah. Jordan says, hell yeah, this dude is cool. Mad respect. He's funny. And all love here, homie. Just trying to give you a hard time. Well, I appreciate it, Jordan. Don't you worry about it. I like a hard time.
I got a bad feeling about this.
I'd like to make a formal apology to the Academy. What is going on in the stream? I gotta say, this is something. This is this is something. Oh my god. Okay. Where was I? Kenobi versus Maul rematch. Well, Kenobi versus Maul already got their rematch, and Maul kind of ends up dead. So I don't know how they rematch again when he's already dead. You know? Matthew says the Inquisitors is probably what I would have cut out. The Rebellion having an underground for Jedi is a good idea, though. Yeah, the path, the hidden path that they talk about in the Jedi games and in Kenobi, like that should be explored more. And maybe in an animated show with Asajj Ventress, Quinlan Vos, as Quinlan was already referred in Kenobi to be involved with the hidden path. I'd love to see that. That'd be awesome. Yeah. Oh, by the way, guys, we did give away a copy of Star Wars Outlaws last Tuesday stream because it was the end of the month, and of course, every member gets instant access to a giveaway at the end of every month. But we will be giving away more copies of Star Wars Outlaws this month as we get closer and closer and closer to the release date at the end of the month. So shout out to Master Beckham for getting that first copy. He's gotten it now, which is fantastic. But we do have more Star Wars Outlaws giveaways happening this month as we get closer and closer to this game, because I understand that a lot of you maybe either don't have the money to afford it, or you're like, it's a little bit too much because I don't really want to play it too much, but we'll do some more giveaways for that. Becoming a member is the best way to support the channel. Obviously, Super Chats are the best way to support the channel, and just watching is the best way to support the channel. But yeah, I just got to mention that because we will be doing more giveaways. And if you want to become a member, it's only 99 cents. So do that. Yeah. Where was I? A Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show could also have Ezra and Jason involved. Yeah, Ezra Bridger and Jason Syndulla. 100%. Now, the weird thing is that there already are Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple comics with like the Rise of Kylo Ren comics. And Ezra Bridger, Ahsoka Tano, Jason Syndulla, those characters are not involved there. So even if they were at some point involved with Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple, they aren't there at the end of it. They're not there when Kylo kills everybody there. So Ezra's either already dead by then, or he's somewhere else in the galaxy. Same with Jason Syndulla, same with Ahsoka Tano, same with Grogu. None of them are at Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple. And that's a lot of Force users to not be at the Jedi Temple in the galaxy at the time. So I want to know the story there. Yeah. You know? Fearless says, please no Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show. How lame and boring. Anyway, we are getting a Rey Jedi Temple movie. How would it be lame and boring? You get Luke Skywalker, Leia Organa, Han Solo, Ben Solo, Chewbacca, Lando, and all their stories between the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. It would be like the Clone Wars for the sequel trilogy, pretty much. And think about the Clone Wars, how beloved that show is now. Imagine if they could do something similar with a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show. You gotta think about it this way. You'd be introducing a brand new cast of Jedi in this show. So the same way that you get introduced to, or I guess explore more of characters like Kit Fisto, Ayla Secura, Barriss Offee, of course Ahsoka Tano, Plo Koon, like all these Jedi who were kind of side characters in the prequel trilogy, or even like Ahsoka didn't even exist in the prequel trilogy, they get their stories explored so much more in the Clone Wars. You could do something very, very similar with a brand new cast of Jedi in Luke's show. Maybe some of them live, or maybe some of them die to Ben Solo at the end, but it allows you to tell so many more stories in and around that time period of the sequel trilogy. Yeah. Asajj Ventress and Quinlan Vos should be in live action. I'd say never. Especially with Asajj Ventress, never say never. They just brought her back to life in The Bad Batch Season 3, and it's highly likely, I would say highly likely that she either appears in live action in the Mandoverse movies, like the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, or even Dave Filoni's movie, or she could even appear in live action in Ahsoka Season 2 because of her connection to Ahsoka Tano. I would say expect the unexpected when it comes to Asajj Ventress. Yeah. We are very split on this sort of animated show thing. Let's pull this up. Why not? Let's pull this up, shall we? By the way, I just ended this poll. Do you guys think there should be a second season of The Acolyte? 71% of you said yes, with over 115 votes in there. Okay, let's do this. What should be, or what, I'll put it this way. What do you think the next animated show, what do you think the next animated show should be? Let's go a Clone Rebellion show. A Hidden Path show. Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show. And then we'll put other for the fourth option. Other. Let's see where we're at with that. Alex, what's up?
Execute order.
Wrong button. I apologize. We're not executing Order 66 on Alex. Alex, what's up?
Hello there.
That's what I meant to do. Sorry, Alex. Let's see where this poll ends up at. Shall we? Shall we? All right. Well, right off the bat, in the lead is this Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show with 45% of you. 32% say Hidden Path show in second right now. We'll leave that up for a little bit, but we'll see where it goes. We shall see. Okay. Officer Murdoch, how we doing? The Forest Dragon, how we doing? Okay, let's talk about this, shall we? So, the animated stuff we don't really know much about that could be coming next weekend. Maybe there's a new show announced, possibly a Clone Rebellion show, possibly a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show, maybe this, maybe that. Let's talk about what we know for a fact, or are about 90+% sure that we will be getting next weekend at D23. And this is probably going to be the thing that takes over the news for the next couple weeks, or maybe even months, as we won't be getting the next Star Wars show until December 3rd, which is Skeleton Crew. So we got this article from People Magazine. We went over this already. We're just going to briefly look through it. But we got this article from Empire Magazine about the release date and the characters' names and all that stuff for Star Wars Skeleton Crew. It comes out on December 3rd, as it says right here on Disney+. This is Jude Law's character, who's named Jod Nawood. Great name. And then you have the four main characters right here from left to right. You got Wim, Jod Nawood. The Cyclops-looking girl is KB. We got our boy Neil. Can we get some Neil hype in the chat? And then Fern over here on the right. Neil is the GOAT already. And then we got the droid down here, SM33. And that's about it. We have an interview with Jude Law in this article, interview with the writers Christopher Ford and John Watts in this article. But this is what we know is coming at D23. There will be a big sort of panel, I'm guessing, for Skeleton Crew where they'll walk out Jude Law on stage. They'll walk out maybe the four kids on stage that are playing those characters of Neil, Fern, KB, and Wim. And they'll have this big sort of announcement for Skeleton Crew that will hopefully, I'm about 99.99999% sure, will involve the first official Skeleton Crew trailer as well. So if we are going to get a trailer for anything, it will be Skeleton Crew, and it will be on Friday night. Now, the second most likely trailer in the title of this stream is Andor Season 2. Now, Andor Season 2 has gotten a ton of announcements over the last 6-ish months, with the biggest one probably being Krennic is returning in Season 2 of Andor, with Ben Mendelsohn coming back as Krennic. Let me show you. This is our boy Krennic right here. This is Krennic, of course. He is the main bad dude from Rogue One, the creator, sort of runner of the Death Star until Tarkin kills him and takes over. And he actually has conversations with Vader and everything in Rogue One. So he's going to be in Andor Season 2. So maybe they bring out the cast for Andor Season 2. Of course, Diego Luna, who plays Cassian, the girl who plays Bix, Luthen, all those main cast of Andor Season 1. They could be involved in Andor Season 2, and then maybe even Ben Mendelsohn comes out on stage as well. And hopefully that Andor panel is followed by the official trailer for, or at least a teaser trailer for Andor as well. Like I said earlier in the stream, there was already a teaser trailer over a year and a half ago at Star Wars Celebration in London in 2023 for Andor Season 2, so there should be enough footage for them to give us a special look at Andor Season 2. Maybe it won't be public. Maybe it'll only be the people at D23, but hopefully they'll release it publicly. The trailer for Andor Season 2, that is. But I don't know. I'm just looking at Ben Mendelsohn here. Krennic. Can't wait to see him. Also, Andor Season 2 will have K2SO, the droid from Rogue One. He is confirmed to be in Season 2. And you'll probably see some more familiar faces like Saw Gerrera, maybe even, well, Mon Mothma, obviously. But maybe even Hera Syndulla in Chopper, as it's confirmed that Yavin 4 will be a location that will be in Andor Season 2. And Yavin 4 is the rebel base from A New Hope, but it's also from Rogue One, where we see the Ghost and Chopper in Rogue One on Yavin 4. So maybe, just maybe, we could be seeing the Rebels crew, depending on who's on that crew, depending on the time period, I guess. You could be seeing Hera Syndulla, Chopper, the Ghost, and maybe some of the crew as well. In the timeline, where does Rebels take place when it comes to Andor? What year does... Hang on, let's look it up. What year does Ezra disappear? What year does Ezra disappear? 1 BBY, so 1 year before the Battle of Yavin. So Andor takes place, Andor Season 2 works like this. So if you, all right, hang on. Let's take a step back. Andor Season 2 is going to be another 12-episode season. And each 3 episodes is going to be a different arc. And that arc is going to be 1 year. So this is the 5 years leading up to Rogue One. The first year was Season 1 of Andor. The second year is going to be the first 3 episodes of Season 2. Then the next 3 episodes will be the 3rd year. The next 3 episodes will be the 4th year. And the next 3 episodes, the final 3 episodes, will lead us directly into the opening scene with Cassian Andor of Rogue One. Are you with me so far? So Season 2 of Andor will follow 4 years of the rebellion. And that means it'll start at 4 BBY, which is 3 years before Ezra disappears. So you could very well see all of the Rebels crew in Andor Season 2 in live action. It's probably less likely that you'll see all of them, but seeing Hera Syndulla and Chopper and maybe even the Ghost, I think, is a high likelihood in the second season of Andor. But tell me what you think in the chat. I had to pick up my pen as I threw it on the ground so angrily earlier. Where was I here? Where was I? By the way, this poll, wow, the Hidden Path show is taking the lead. So you guys would rather a Hidden Path show over a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show? That's crazy. That's crazy. Rebels is like 4 BBY to 0 BBY. Well, it ends in 1 BBY, apparently. 1 year before the events of A New Hope. Yeah. Andor Season 2 and Rebels Season 1 should overlap. Well, it seems like they should all sort of overlap, you know? Andor should be 3 seasons to expand the episodes to 6 per year instead of 3. But if there's not enough story there, that's the biggest thing, is you want to have a cohesive story going from start to finish. And if you're just dragging it on, then it's not going to be worth it. At one point, you guys might not know this, but at one point, Andor was supposed to be 5 seasons, 12 episodes each season, and every season was going to be 1 year. Now, talk about dragging it on. 5 seasons of Andor. That would just be way too much. If you ask me, that would be way too much. It would have been crazy. It would have been crazy. It would have been just, it just would have been too much. Too much. Too much! Imagine that. You're talking about, what, 60 episodes of Andor? 60 episodes of Andor. Now, some people might be sitting there going, yes, give me more Andor. But no, that would just be way too much. Way too much. That would be so crazy. 5 seasons, 3 episodes each. Well, there you go. No, it would be 12. That would cost like $1.25 billion to make. Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. That's crazy. Hopefully, Kino Loy plays a big role. Let's talk about Kino, shall we? Kino Loy, who can't swim, he survived, from what we hear. He survived, and he will, or he might, I'll put it that way. He might play a big role in this second season. What do we think about that? Kino Loy, do you think he'll be in season 2? What do we think? Overkill, yeah, 5 seasons would have been big time overkill. You can tell a better story with less. It always depends. It's a case-by-case basis, but yeah, I mean, I always go back to Tales of the Jedi because it's such a good story, and it's only 6 episodes, and each episode's only like 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. So it depends on the story. It's a case-by-case basis, but 5 seasons would have been way too much for Andor. Kino was the best character from Andor, in my opinion. He was definitely up there for me. I think Luthen's my favorite character from season 1. Bix is good. Cassian's, of course, great. His mom is Marva's great. Yeah, and Kino's up there in that. So yeah, those are probably my top 5. But will he come back in season 2 is kind of a Snoke. Yeah, there was all those theories, like, because of course Kino Loy is played by Andy Serkis, and Andy Serkis voices Snoke. Everybody's like, oh my god, Kino Loy is going to turn into Snoke. I seriously doubt it, but it is kind of cool. He's the first sort of actor to ever play 2 major roles in Star Wars. Yeah. Indeed. Brandon says, I put my homie onto the Clone Wars, and it sparked our hope again for Star Wars after the sequel trilogy. Well, that's good. That's fantastic. The Clone Wars is so underrated. Like, it got so much crap when it was first coming out, especially the movie, but even the earlier seasons of the Clone Wars got so much crap, and now it's so beloved. Yeah. Bix and Mon Mothma were my favorites in season 1. Oh yeah, Mon Mothma was good too. I feel like they didn't utilize her enough though. I think she'll be probably more important in this second season. Anthony says, Mike, I almost guarantee that there will be no overlap or parallels between Star Wars Rebels and Andor Season 2. That's Filoni's material. And Tony Gilroy cares not for the Jedi. Although I agree with you, Anthony, I actually think there will be overlap. And here's why. Tony Gilroy is not sort of a guy who knows a lot about Star Wars. But even in Season 1 of Andor, you had stuff like the Kyber Crystal that Andor had that was thrown in by somebody other than Tony Gilroy. People think it was Dave Filoni. Probably was. And you had Luthen's shop on Coruscant that had Starkiller's mask, that had a Gungan shield, that had all these crazy antiques that clearly Tony Gilroy didn't put in there. Somebody else did. Most likely Dave Filoni. But since Andor Season 1 has been released, Dave Filoni has gotten the role of CCO, Chief Creative Officer over at Lucasfilm, and now he has like oversight over every Star Wars project that's released. So he could easily throw in some of his characters into Andor. I would still think it would be just Harrison Dula, the Ghost, and Chopper. It wouldn't involve Ezra or Kanan or anything like that. So it wouldn't be that big of a cameo. And it would just be on Yavin 4 for probably a brief second. But there will be those sort of Easter eggs in Andor Season 2, even though Tony Gilroy's not really known for doing stuff like that because he doesn't really know Star Wars all that well. He's just a good storyteller and a good writer. Somebody on the inside is doing those Easter eggs, is creating Luthen's Gallery or other things like that from Season 1 that will still happen in Season 2. Yeah. Will Diego Luna return for Season 2? Yes. Diego Luna, who plays Cassian Andor, will be back for Season 2. Yes. Cole says, Andor Season 2 will genuinely be a game changer. Real shit. Cannot wait. I think Andor Season 2 is very, very high on a lot of fans' lists. Obviously, probably higher than Skeleton Crew because we know so little about Skeleton Crew. But it's so close. You can almost taste it. Like it's next year, early next year. And I think this weekend could possibly give us a trailer and get people extremely excited for this second season. Yeah. Abby, what's up? Darth Thor says, I like the kid in Andor, the one that gives his recorder to Cassian. Gives his recorder. Oh, the kid that's working with them on Aldhani. Ah, yes. Yeah, that kid was good. I think the Aldhani arc is probably my favorite. I know everybody loves the prison arc and the finale arc in that first season, but I think the Aldhani stuff is my favorite. I just like that all those guys were such cool characters, and then they all just get killed off like that. It's another sort of like the Acolyte. It's another realization that nobody's safe in this whole galaxy that we see in the Star Wars universe. Nobody's really safe at any point. And we know that Cassian's story, of course, ends with him dying anyway. But everybody around him isn't safe either. This is a war between rebels and the Empire, and nobody is safe. Yeah. It just scrolled to the bottom. Are you kidding me? Oh, here we go. Brandon Tram, what's up?
Hello there.
Brandon says it's so underrated. Like Star Wars knows how to tell a great story when they want to. Oh, you're talking about Andor? I would say Andor is underrated because of all the low views that it got, but I feel like it's gotten more love than pretty much any other Star Wars project. Maybe other than Mando. But the love for Andor that you see online is insane. Like, it's so much more love than it is hate. It's almost the exact opposite of the Acolyte, which is mostly hate and not a lot of love. But the Andor show, I think, out of all the shows that they've released, live action at least, that is, it has the most love and least amount of hate. Which says something, you know? Anthony says, Tony Gilroy will respect Dave Filoni's storytelling and will, at best, allude to Lethal's rebellion in 1 BBY, but there will be no Inquisitors or Force users in Andor. It's a very big galaxy. I don't think there will be Inquisitors or even Jedi like Ezra or Kanan, but I'm more so saying that it could be after the events of that, and you could see Harrison Dula and maybe Chopper and the Ghost, but not the Force users. I actually think there could be one specific Force user in Andor Season 2, maybe in just one brief scene towards the end, and that is Lord Vader. Darth Vader could definitely make an appearance in Andor Season 2, maybe alluding to what eventually comes in Rogue One. But just like Season 1 of Andor teased us with the Death Star at the end, I think Andor Season 2 could tease us with Darth Vader at the end. I don't think Darth Vader's going to come face to face with Cassian, but he could be seen in a different location. Yeah. Luthen is going to be phenomenal too. Yeah, Luthen was so good in season 1. He was by far my favorite character, and I can't wait to see what he does in season 2. I actually think you could see Luthen dying in season 2. I don't know how and I don't know why, but he's not in Rogue One. Saw Gerrera is, Mon Mothma is, but Luthen's not. So I think you might be seeing him die in season 2. Yeah. Robert says, most of Lucasfilm's employees know little about Star Wars. No, that's not true at all. I would say most of Lucasfilm's employees know quite a lot about Star Wars. I think there's very little that don't know much. And the people who don't know much are the ones like Tony Gilroy that are just insanely good at their jobs, and they don't really need to know a lot about Star Wars to do their jobs. Yeah. But all the people working behind the scenes at Lucasfilm, like Star Wars is their love. That's why they're working there in the first place. They've grown up with it their entire lives, and they love Star Wars so much. You hear all these stories about behind the scenes, like when Hayden Christensen shows up on screen in his Clone Wars attire in Ahsoka. Like, the cast and crew are literally bawling their eyes out because this is a dream come true for them because they love Star Wars so much. Brandon Tran says, what if the new animated show is about Asajj Ventress's bounty hunting adventures during the Galactic Empire era? I'd be totally down for that. That would be so cool. That would be so cool. Yeah. Oh, Lauren. Welcome to the people who love Star Wars. Welcome to the people of Star Wars, Lauren, at the master level. Oh my God, Lauren, I appreciate that quite a bit. Welcome to the people who love Star Wars. I appreciate it. Becoming a member is one of the best ways to support the channel, and you have instant access to the next giveaway. I appreciate it, Lauren. I really, really do. That's very, very generous. But where was I? Oh, Asajj Ventress Bounty Hunter show. I would love to see some Bounty Hunter stuff, but maybe in like a Tales of the Bounty Hunter. That would kind of be cool. I don't know if they'll do a full-on animated show about Asajj Ventress being a bounty hunter. If they were going to do an Asajj Ventress show, it would most likely just be her in the hidden path with Quinlan Vos and saving Jedi who survived Order 66. But a bounty hunter show in the same wavelength as Tales would be fantastic. Fan-freaking-tastic. Why does it keep going to the bottom like that? It's really pissing me off. Maybe Leia in Andor Season 2? Okay, that's actually kind of interesting. Not just Leia, but Bail Organa. Because Bail Organa, first of all, you can bring back the actor. What's the actor's name who plays Bail Organa? I'm completely blanking on it. Something... You know who I'm talking about. Bail Organa, of course. He was just in Kenobi, and he could easily show up in Andor Season 2 because he is involved with the rebellion. He's in Rogue One. So you could be seeing Bail Organa definitely involved in this. Jimmy Smith. Oh, that was going to kill me. Thank you, chat. Thank you. Yes, Jimmy Smith. You could be seeing him for sure show up in Andor Season 2. But Leia is a little bit more interesting. I don't think you'll see Leia. It would be a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. But I think Bail is way more likely than Leia is at this point. Yeah. Beskar Steele says, they need to air the other Lost Clone Wars episodes. They never finished Maul's arc. Palpatine swooped in and said he had a plan for him, and the next time you see him, he's ruling Mandalore. That is true. There's a lot of sort of missing pieces in the Clone Wars because a lot of arcs were either thrown out because they didn't have time to do them or because they just had better things to focus on, I guess. So yes, the story about Maul is told in comics, how he escapes and how the Mandalorians come to save him. But I'd love to see that in animation. Absolutely. I wonder if they'll ever go back and do that. I doubt it, but it would be cool to see. Yeah. Anthony says, Mike, you got to remember, The Acolyte and Andor were projects greenlit by Kathleen Kennedy in 2019 and 2020 when Filoni had no power. That's why Filoni's not listed in The Acolyte. Yeah, it's before Dave Filoni got the role of CCO. And now, actually, since Dave Filoni's an executive producer on Skeleton Crew, and Andor Season 2, I believe, filmed after he got the job. Acolyte might have been the last project that Dave Filoni didn't have the position to sort of say whatever he wants to. So I think moving forward, Dave Filoni will have his hands on every Star Wars project that ever gets released. Maybe not Andor Season 2, but definitely Skeleton Crew, definitely Ahsoka Season 2, and then after that, he's already had the position long enough to be in charge of everything. Yeah. Interesting. Harrison says there's got to be a good few of if you know type cameos on Yavin 4 too. Ooh, Wedge and Telly's, Biggs and some sort of fleet commanders from Rebels perhaps. I'd love to see that. Some callbacks to A New Hope with Wedge and Telly's. You'd have to, of course, deepfake Wedge, but why not? Biggs would be cool too because Biggs is a character who's sort of just thrown in A New Hope. He had some deleted scenes that make his character a little bit confusing when he shows up, but he's like the friend of Luke Skywalker. He dies in the attack on the Death Star. But yeah, you could definitely do that. A lot of callbacks to A New Hope could happen in this Andor Season 2, for sure. Nemec was such a well-written character. Yeah, he was. Anthony says, Mike, Filoni's power did not extend to control storytelling and characterization of other creators' material. He can only he can only be present for the inception of new works and suggestions. Well, being CCO, he has oversight over all projects. He's not going to be creating every product. He's not going to be creating writing every project and directing every project. He's just going to be overseeing it. So he's going to be grabbing up the best creators to sort of keep the vision going. Yes, he's going to be involved in some sort of way. Maybe he wants to change this or that or this and that. But he's not going to be directly directing or writing any of the stuff, except for Ahsoka Season 2 and his own Mando movie. Yeah. Moby says, Andor is the best. Nice. It's not particularly my favorite, but I do love it. Lauren says, because the people who don't like Andor didn't go on a hate campaign. They just stopped watching. That is interesting. Actually, that's not really true, but it is interesting a little bit. Andor is a show that not a lot of Star Wars fans liked, but it didn't receive nearly the same amount of hate that The Acolyte did. Why do we think that is? Now, you got to remember, you cast your mind back to the Andor time period, it did receive some hate. The whole bricks and screws stuff, people were losing their minds. They were like, guns in Star Wars shouldn't look like that. Bricks and screws in Star Wars, that should never happen. It was a whole thing. But it didn't receive nearly as much hate as The Acolyte did. Why is that? Interesting. Oh, Pam Hill with a very generous $5 holla. God damn. Says, thanks for all you do. Could you do Maul yelling at Obi-Wan? Ooh, like a yelling Kenobi? Oh, yes, I can. I need my voice for this, so I gotta take a nice long sip of water here.
This is where the fun begins.
Okay, first of all, Pam, I appreciate the $5 holla, but let me give you my attempt here without hearing anything either. Okay, here we go. In my mind's eye, Kenobi. That was horrible, but I appreciate it, Pam. Nonetheless, I just lost my voice completely for the rest of the day, so I appreciate it. Just love to yell Kenobi every once in a while, you know? Where was I? Oh, Brandon says, I wasn't so crazy about Andor, but I did love how they expanded on the Empire in that time period. Yeah, I mean, the Empire is supposed to be the powerhouse of the galaxy for decades before the original trilogy even starts. So getting any insight into that is really, really cool. Chris says, Hera and Chopper are mentioned and seen in Yavin 4 in Rogue One. Are they mentioned? I know they're seen. Well, Hera's not seen, but the Ghost is seen and Chopper is seen in Rogue One on Yavin 4. So I wouldn't be surprised if they appeared in Andor Season 2. I wouldn't be surprised either. Yeah. Yeah. Luthen gets killed off by Vader. That would be insane. Now that would be insane. Empire Film says, what if we got the Journal of Jango Fett? That would be awesome. So Jango Fett's backstory is one of the most interesting backstories when it comes to a bounty hunter in Star Wars. I'd be totally down for that. Because there's a great comic run for Jango. If that was brought into animation or even live action, that'd be so good. Jango Fett's a very underrated character when it comes to Star Wars. Yeah. Brandon says, Luthen might die. That's a great point, Mike. Yeah, I would not be surprised if he died. I would actually put it at a very high percentage that Luthen dies in Andor Season 2. I think a lot of people might die in Andor Season 2 because they either don't appear in Rogue One or because it's just the rebellion, and that's how rebellions work. Like, people die all the time. Same thing with the Aldhani arc. All those guys died. Yeah. Light Lord says, Old Republic 2040, the era begins. Honestly, 2040 sounds like a bajillion years away. It's only 16, and I know 16 years sounds like it's a really million years away, but we just talked about the current slate of Star Wars. Talked about how you got the Mandalorian Grogu movie, which is probably going to be a trilogy because you already got Dave Filoni's Mando movie. So you talk about a trilogy, which is at least 6 years. In between those movies, you have the Rey movie, the Dawn of the Jedi movie, which could also be beginnings of new trilogies. So now you're talking about at least 6 to 10 years of Star Wars movies, and you haven't even mentioned Rogue Squadron, or the Lando movie, or Sean Levy's movie. And then you can at least begin to talk about the Old Republic. So you're talking about at least till 2030 before we get any Old Republic content. 2030 sounds fake, first of all, but that's crazy. KOTOR will never happen. Never say never. Never say never. It has to happen eventually. You can't just sit on this gold mine forever. You know? Freddie B says, that section of the fan base that feels that they need to gatekeep Legends and EU needs to relax a little bit. I think everybody needs to relax a little bit. This is Star Wars here. We're talking about Star Wars. The escape from your reality. What's supposed to take you out and give you a nice break from your stress of your everyday lives. Everybody needs to take a chill pill for a second. We're talking about hype, cool, awesome, lightsaber, Jedi, Sith, Rebels, Empire, cool, badass characters that we love. You know? Yeah, no? Where was I? Robert says, trying to predict corporates is like the opposite nowadays, and they just do the opposite. Oh, corporations, you're saying. I wouldn't say it's the exact opposite, but it is usually wrong. Yeah. What are you talking about? Jimmy is the go-to cameo. I don't know if he's the go-to cameo, but Bail Organa fits into the time period at this point perfectly. And he fit into Kenobi as well perfectly. Yeah. Hashtag bring back Jimmy. Yeah, bring back Jimmy. Star Wars Bounty Hunter game is so good if you haven't played it, Mike. It is very wonky nowadays. I believe I played it a long time ago when I was a kid. Don't really remember it much, but they are remastering it now. Is it wonky still with the remaster? Yeah, probably. Filoni is now the Kevin Feige of the Star Wars universe. It is very similar to what Kevin Feige was doing at the MCU. Kevin Feige worked on as a producer on all of the X-Men movies since 2000 to all of them. And he worked on the Fantastic Four movies too with 20th Century Fox. But he didn't have the power to do what he wanted to do. And then the MCU comes around and he becomes the guy and he shows what he's made of and creates one of the most profitable movie franchises in history and goes on this crazy thing that nobody's ever seen before. 34 movies that generates $30 billion over the course of 15 years, 16 years. It's nothing we've ever seen before. So if Dave Filoni can recreate any of that or any inkling or any percentage of that, it'll be very impressive. Yeah. They're likely to throw Starkiller in at some point. I actually don't think so. At some point, I did think that they would bring in Starkiller into canon, but he's just too powerful, and there's no real time to do it. They replaced him with Inquisitors and all this other stuff in the time period between the original trilogy and the prequels that there's really no time, unless you're going to bring in Starkiller as a completely different character that isn't Vader's apprentice, maybe in a post-sequel world, then maybe, but it won't be the same character, you know? Yeah, I know. I'll do an Andor binge tomorrow. Better be good. Well, hopefully it is. I actually want to do a rewatch of Andor Season 1, too. I'll probably do that this week, actually. And we'll see where we go, where we get with that. Yeah. We shall see. Aaron says, I think the bricks and screws criticism didn't represent a lot of viewers. It was the representation of a very popular influencer. Very popular influencer? I think the bricks and screws stuff was just the example of how crazy the Star Wars fandom can be when they're just trying to look for something to hate on. Like, the Andor show was really, really good, but for some reason, that portion of the fandom that has to hate everything Star Wars had to find something to hate. In the bricks and screws and the guns in the show were just that one thing to hate. And it became the thing to hate for Andor. And every show has that the thing to hate, the Acolyte being the biggest thing with Leslie Headland in the cast and crew. But yeah, Andor just had that sort of thing to hate, and it was bricks and screws. Yeah. Rob says, YouTube/social media tastemakers didn't hate Andor like they did with the Acolyte. They made hating on the Acolyte their personality. Yeah, I just think the Acolyte maybe gave them more to hate as opposed to Andor. But I don't know. I just feel like there's just a portion of the Star Wars fandom. It's a very small portion of the Star Wars fandom, but there is a portion that yells louder than everybody else. That just finds something to hate with every new Star Wars project. And it's perfectly fine because we can just ignore them, but sometimes they get annoying. Yeah, no? Fire in space is the funniest thing. Fire in space. Like, this hasn't been something that Star Wars has always had since A New Hope. Star Wars has never claimed to be science fiction. It's a space fantasy. Science has never really been its strong suit. From hyperspace to parsecs not even being what a parsec really is. The Millennium Falcon doing 12 parsecs, is it? 12? 12 parsecs is a time period, but a parsec is a length of space. It's a length. It's not a time. So Star Wars has never been a scientific masterpiece where everything is so spot on when it comes to science. That's never been what Star Wars has claimed to be. Yeah. I need more bass in my voice? Well, thanks. Thanks. Brandon says, because people... Oh, nah, not going to read that. Sorry, Brandon. Yeah. Moby says, Andor was the opposite of the Acolyte. Deep character development. I disagree. I think Andor and Acolyte both had very deep character developments. Specifically, Acolyte. Andor had so many characters that it was hard to develop each one individually. And the Acolyte killed off a lot of characters too. What? A lot of YouTubers made hating the Acolyte their personality as well. Oh, yeah. As Tony says, a lot of Mike outtakes will be available after the show. If you guys are not yet in the Discord, there's a free Discord in the description below. To the people who love Star Wars, go join that Discord. A lot of fun Star Wars people. We're almost at 200 people in that Discord, by the way. A lot of fun people in that Discord talking about Star Wars all the time. So don't forget to go join that. Oh, the bass in my voice was for Kenobi. Yeah, I know. That wasn't my best Kenobi impression. I've done better before. I like to look it up first and then do based off of that, but you know. Yeah. Yeah. Big Silos says, it sounds like it pained you to admit Acolyte? To admit Acolyte? What does that even mean? Do we think that Cal Kestis will be coming to live action soon? I hope so. If not in Skeleton Crew, then at some point in this Mandoverse. I don't know how, and I don't know if they're waiting for Jedi 3 or not. We never actually talked about that. D23 could have some sort of update about the Jedi Survivor or Jedi Survivor sequel, which is going to be Jedi 3. We could have some sort of update when it comes to that. That would be kind of cool. But yes, there will definitely be a lot of Star Wars Outlaws news, or at least maybe another trailer and a lot of coverage of Star Wars Outlaws at D23 next weekend as well. Yeah. Yeah. Andor had a movie attached to it. Acolyte was brand new. That's true too. Andor, you already were kind of connected to that character at least, and you knew that it was going to end in Rogue One. Yeah. Character development you just talked about. How much did they pay me? Well, none. I wish they would, but the Acolyte not having character development is just the most insane thing I've ever heard. Like, it might be, other than, no, it's more than that. It might be the most of any live action show for character development, other than maybe Mando, because it has 3 seasons. Yeah. Ahsoka doesn't really have much character development, but that's because all those characters are coming from Clone Wars or Rebels. Yeah. Nice Funkos in the background. Thanks. Actually, what's funny is the placement of the things in my background haven't really changed much in a long time. But the Funko Pops that I have hidden from you guys are all Marvel ones. Actually, there's some Star Wars ones. You got like stuff that's directly off screen, Admiral Akbar and stuff. But the one, like, there's 2 rows of Funko Pops here that are the row behind it is Marvel ones, and then actually behind Boba Fett's helmet is a Doctor Strange, a Human Torch, a Spider-Man, and a Thor. So I'm hiding all of my Marvel ones slightly below, or slightly behind. Just want to put it in that. Soul's character was emasculated? In what way? That's absolutely insane. Shut up. Chopper, first stream I saw you yell at him. I almost died laughing. Yeah, no, so I got Chopper in March of this year? Something like that. I went to Galaxy's Edge fairly recently. Yeah. Darth Vader versus Doctor Strange? That's kind of tough, actually. Am I from Texas? No. Do I sound like I'm from Texas? I don't think I really have a Texan accent. Easy for me to say. Vader versus Strange is actually a really interesting one. I don't know. Because Strange... That's very tough. I think I would go Vader, but Strange would definitely put up a fight. Brandon says, is K2SO confirmed for Andor Season 2? Yes. I mean, they confirmed it at Star Wars Celebrate. No. D23 maybe? At some sort of convention over the last 2 years, they did confirm that K2SO will be involved in Andor. In Season 2, I would guess, yeah. CG Gaming, what's up? My day's going great. How's your day going? Massachusetts. Massachusetts. What about Palpatine versus Thor? Oh, wow. Jesus. What do you guys think, chat? Palpatine versus Thor. Both have lightning. One's sort of a god, and one's a frail old man. That's tough. I gotta go Thor on that one. You know? State of happiness. That's hilarious. All right, I'm going to end this poll. Let's see where you guys are at with this animated show type deal. Ooh, the Luke Skywalker show took the lead back. With 31% of you wanting the Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show, 29% wanting the Hidden Path show, 24% Clone Rebellion, and 14% saying other. Nice. Thor would have control over Palpatine's lightning, and over his lightning, and Palpatine wouldn't. That's true. Yeah. You did type it correctly, but I don't know what... Oh, yeah, I do know what you're talking about, actually. The Bee Gees song? Yeah. Prime Tenebris versus Prime Obi-Wan? I mean... That's tough, because Tenebris is a character where you don't really get much of him in really any stories. But I think you'd have to take Prime Tenebris, because Prime Obi-Wan would be Revenge of the Sith, right? Because after that, he kind of neglects the Force, and before that, he's not as powerful. That's kind of tough, actually. That would be an interesting one. It would be an interesting one. Jeez, look at these verses. Who would win? Wolverine versus Kanan Jarrus? Wolverine's... Unless he chops off his head, I guess. But Wolverine would win because he could just stab Kanan once and Kanan's dead. But if Kanan stabs him with a lightsaber, he's going to live. Unless he chops his head off. If Kanan knows to go for the head, then maybe Kanan. But you got to go Wolverine on that one. Vitiate versus Glub Shido? Glub Shido, all the way. No. R2-D2 versus Chopper. That's an interesting one. R2 versus Chopper? Huh. R2 versus Chopper. What do we think on that one? R2 versus Chopper? I feel like... Ooh. R2-D2 went through the Clone Wars. Chopper went through the wars with the Rebellion versus the Empire. I think Chopper probably has a higher kill count, no? R2's got more modern tech. Does he, though? R2's a war hero, but Chopper's a different war hero. This is interesting, actually. I see a bunch of Choppers, a bunch of R2s. Should we pull this up? Let's pull this up. This is an interesting one. Who would win? R2-D2 or Chopper? Chopper is funnier. I would agree with that. Chopper is definitely funnier. But who would win in a one-on-one? Chopper or R2-D2? Wolverine is invincible? Yeah, pretty much. R2 mops the floor with them? Damn. Oh, this is kind of close, actually. Oh, wait, never mind. It's getting out of hand. 67% of you right now. Oh, 63. R2-D2. Oh, it's dropping rapidly. Interesting. The Force Dragon says, wouldn't Palpatine be able to use the Force on Thor so that he couldn't fight back and he would sense that what Thor is doing before he does it? I don't really think that's how it would work. Plus, Thor is pretty much... I mean, you can kill Thor, but he's very powerful and a god. Palpatine is not. R2 is an updated version of an astromech, but then Chopper got the murder mentality. Yeah, Chopper's got more of the kill-hungry, bloodthirsty droid type deal going, you know? Top 3 favorite characters and 1 random favorite. Mine are Luke, Ahsoka, Anakin, and Vader. And my random is Chirrut Imwe. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but the blind dude from Rogue One, I think you're saying. Top three favorite characters are Anakin, Ahsoka, and Maul. And then one random favorite character, Max Rebo. Just because he's been on the mind all week, you know? Max Rebo, the GOAT. Yeah. Kelnaka versus Chewie. You got to take Kelnaka. He's a freaking Jedi. Yeah. Jedi versus non-Jedi Wookiee. You got to go with the Jedi Wookiee. But you don't want to get on either droid's bad side. LOL. No, you definitely don't. I refuse to vote on R2 versus Chopper. The truth is, they'd work together against a foe. Probably. But if they had to fight each other? Chopper is more of a smartass / badass. It would be hard fighting. But he would win in the end. I agree with that, I think. I think I gotta lean more Chopper on this one. R2-D2 was in more of a war in the Clone Wars, but he wasn't fighting in more of the war. Chopper is more of a fighter than R2 is, I think. Yeah. Chrysanthemum versus Chewie is more of an interesting one. Because they're both non-Force users. I'd probably go Chrysanthemum because he's a bounty hunter, and we've seen him rip off some limbs. Chewbacca, it would be an interesting one. Definitely be an interesting one. Imagine if Palpatine found a way to possess Thor and take the Infinity Stones. Palpatine with the Infinity Stones, anybody with the Infinity Stones is going to be more powerful than pretty much anybody. You got the Infinity Gauntlet, you're pretty much unstoppable. Hand-to-hand, Chrysanthemum wins. Yeah. But a blaster, you probably take Chewie, right? Probably. I'm going to end this poll. We've gone completely off the rails here. We're just talking about one-on-ones now. You guys think R2 would take that? Interesting. Jabba the Hutt versus Zero the Hutt? In a one-on-one? Two slugs going at it? I don't know. Cobb Vanth versus Hunter? Cobb Vanth. Oh, actually, no, sorry. I read that as Cad Bane. My fault. Cobb Vanth versus Hunter? Hunter. Yeah. But Cad Bane versus Hunter would be Cad Bane for sure. Chrysanthemum is awesome. I agree with that. I think he was underutilized in the Book of Boba Fett. Master Soul versus Cal Kestis. Soul's got the experience. I feel like Kestis is more of a natural talent type dude, though. Got the Force Echo and all these other abilities. That'd be interesting. Like Jedi Survivor Cal Kestis, I might take him. But Jedi Fallen Order, I'd take Soul. Yeah. Young Magneto from the X-Men movies versus Anakin Skywalker from the Clone Wars Season 7. Is Anakin wearing any metal? Because then it's definitely Magneto. If Anakin is wearing any sort of metal, you got to take Magneto. Actually, is Magneto able to control the metal that makes up the lightsabers? Because then it's got to be Magneto. If he disables his lightsaber and has the ability to just close him in on any, yeah, you got to take Magneto there. Yeah. Okay, I got to get on out of here. I really got to go take a pee. And we've been going for almost 2 hours and 15 minutes, which is crazy. So let's get on out of here. The big news is Lando is not canceled as far as we're aware. And D23 is coming up at the end of this week, so watch out for all those announcements and crazy, crazy stuff. Watch out for a video maybe tomorrow, if not by Monday, and then a short every day for the rest of your lives. And live streams every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Yeah, that's about it. Hopefully we're getting an Andor Season 2 trailer next weekend, a Skeleton Crew trailer next weekend, an update on Ahsoka Season 2, hopefully an update on these movies, and maybe a new animated show as well. Smash a freaking like on the stream if you have not yet already. Smash a like, smash a subscribe, all that other fun stuff if you haven't already. I appreciate all you guys. Huge shout out to Pam for the very generous $5 holla, and Lauren for becoming a member. I appreciate it quite a bit. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Smash a freaking like on the stream. Hit that subscribe, blah, 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 blah. And may the Force be with you always. Oh yeah, what a great stream. What a great show. Chimere or Cal Kestis? Chimere 100%. Oh yeah, Anakin has a metal arm. Yeah. No way. Magneto would destroy Anakin, for sure. Chimere or Vader? Vader. That'd be tough. We haven't really seen Chimere in his full potential, you know? But I think Vader. Vader's handicapped by his suit a little bit. Okay, I'm getting way too distracted here. Having way too much fun doing these one-on-ones. But I appreciate all you guys. Smash the like, hit that subscribe, blah, 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 blah. I hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives, and good night, everybody.